It's impossible to have watched Swamp People and not know who the king of the swamp is. As one of the show's original cast, Troy Landry won the audience's approval with his fearless attitude and veteran skills during his hunting gators escapades in the Louisiana swamps. However, Troy has still faced some health-related difficulties, which have put his life at risk and worried his fans no end, bringing up many questions regarding his current well-being and whether he's been able to keep up his hunting escapades and the show. So how is Troy doing now after being diagnosed with prostate cancer? And has he undergone treatment or even surgery? Stay listening to know this and so much more about Troy's whereabouts, health, and life in general. Finding out that Troy was diagnosed with prostate cancer was surprising, to say the least. The worrisome news of his illness was revealed by Troy himself on his Facebook in June 2022. Surgery went good, no more prostate. It was ate up with cancer. He wrote following the post with grateful words towards his doctors, family, and fans, while showing a photo of himself on a hospital bed after the surgery. It was unknown that he'd been diagnosed with cancer before that post, but the news of his successful medical procedure was very well received by his fans, as revealed by Jacob Landry in a Facebook video from August that year. His father Troy had been recovering well since his surgery. He's back home feeling much better. His days have been getting better and better. Jacob affirmed, adding that after surgery tests showed that Troy was effectively cured. Regarding Troy's comeback to hunting, he's back on the road and as strong as ever. As seen on his social media posts, Troy was actively hunting and fishing in the next couple of months after his surgery, even taking it upon himself to teach his younger grandchildren how to catch some wild animals on their own. All in all, it's great to know that Troy has overcome this complex chapter of his life and is moving forward. Given Troy Landry's recent health-related issues, many fans worried that he might be absent from Swamp People for the first time since the show premiered in 2010. However, nothing can keep Troy away from the swamps for long. As seen in the show's 14th season premiered in late 2022, not only is Troy back on the boat catching gators with his son Jacob, but he's also recovering well from his prostate surgery earlier that year to return to his daily activities, which include fishing and cooking. Troy not only continues to hunt gators for a living, though, as his other show, Serpent Invasion, is doing great as well, and even premiered a third season in early 2022. Other current projects include sharing outdoors lifestyle content on the Facebook fan page The Landry Life, on top of spending lots of quality time with family and friends. Besides appearing in the original Swamp People show since 2010, Troy Landry hasn't been absent from the franchise's spin-off series either. The first was Swamp Mysteries with Troy Landry, premiered in 2018, and which focused on Troy's adventures as he investigates and catches some of the most terrible and fear-inducing creatures across the southern U.S. While searching for fearful animals such as the Mississippi-based El Diablo gator, and the Louisiana-famous or wild and incredibly big garfishes is different from what we're used to seeing in Swamp People. The truth is that Troy has always been quite open about his fascination for the unknown. As he recalled during an interview with TV Tango, some southern legends, such as the bear-like creature One-Eye and Bigfoot, have been fueling his interest for a long time. There are things out there that I've heard that I don't know. I'm not scared, but I wonder what it is, he said. Besides his one-season-long mystery hunting series, Troy also appears in Serpent Invasion, a 2020 premiered Swamp People spin-off series which takes him and other hunters to Florida's Everglades National Park to capture Burmese pythons, considered an invasion species in the area in recent years for threatening its ecosystem. Of course, Troy is always up for a challenge, regardless of wherever it takes him. Troy Landry's adventures in the swamps are worthy of praise, but hunting gators isn't the only thing he loves doing. When he's not harvesting gators on his own or filming the show, Troy spends his time fishing and supplying crawfish all around Louisiana. This activity takes place a little after gator season is over, taking Troy and his family to fish in rivers in Lafayette and the Atchafalaya River Basin every November, and during the first couple of months of every year. While it's unclear how profitable the crawfish business is for the Landrys, fishing is in the family's blood. As Troy admitted in an interview with the New York Post before retiring, his grandfather owned 2 fishing boats that were passed down to his father, who also taught the occupation to Troy from an early age. He had a little fish factory. We'd skin all the fish he would catch. We'd work until 10 or 11 almost every night when I was growing up. Adding that at least 8 months per year, he is catching crawfish and sometimes shrimps too. Keeping family traditions seems to be the Landry's thing, hence why Troy's grandchildren have learned the hunting and fishing arts from the man himself, as depicted on his Facebook page. It isn't unusual for reality stars to be involved in some type of legal issues, and Troy Landry is no exception. Though in his case, it wasn't him who was supposedly at fault. As seen in episodes of Swamp People, Troy's sayings are memorable and have started a trend to catch phrases which have become recognizable by the show's audience over the years. Phrases such as "motherfricka" and "shoot 'em," among others, were registered by Troy back in 2010, using them to produce a line of merchandise of t-shirts, mugs, and hats through his company Troy Landry Productions. In 2012, Troy was left with no option but to sue the company's Ripple Junction Design, Halpern Import, and National Cap and Sportswear for allegedly copying his registered phrases, accusing them of soliciting business, executing contracts, licenses, and selling infringing goods, according to the Advocate report on the case. The report also revealed that back then, Troy owned the rights to this name, along with 9 phrases in total, out of which 4 were used by the aforementioned brands. While it's unclear who won the lawsuit or whether the parties came to an out-of-court agreement, nowadays Troy continues to sell items with his trademark phrases in retail stores all around Louisiana and through online shops. Despite being a veteran in the field, Troy Landry has faced some issues when it comes to his hunting escapades. Back in November 2012, he was cited by the state of Arkansas for importing products from another state, which were considered illegal and dangerous to the general public. But there's more than just that. As it happened, Troy was returning from a hunting trip in Nebraska, along with his sons Chase and Jacob, when he was stopped by officers while passing through Arkansas on their way to Louisiana. As reported by authorities, the Landrys were transporting deer meat in coolers and 6 heads of their recently hunted animals on trucks, totaling thousands of dollars in value. Though the load was considered usual for any experienced hunter, the Landrys weren't aware that importing deer carcasses was prohibited in Arkansas to prevent the possible spread of the incurable and highly contagious chronic wasting disease believed to affect elk and deer. While neither Troy nor his sons were arrested for breaking said regulation, their meat was confiscated and the racks were released only after the family paid hundreds of dollars in fines. The Landrys accepted that they were at fault, though not without complaints. "I could understand if we stopped in Arkansas in the night and processed a deer or something, but we were doing 75 miles per hour coming home," as Troy told Arkansas Online back then. Gator hunting is more than just a business for those involved in it, particularly for people around the Atchafalaya River Basin and all Louisiana. Harvesting and tailing gates for a living is something they take very seriously, not only for the dangers that such a profession entails, but also because it's their way of keeping a centuries-old tradition alive, as well as a stable population of alligators. It's no different for Troy Landry, whose family has been living in Pierre Part for centuries and has passed their fishing and gator hunting knowledge down through generations after generation. People ask me, "How'd you get into that?" "I didn't get into it, I was raised in it," he told the New York Post. However, Troy also admits that while chasing gators is profitable these days, decades ago he and his family did it for a different reason. "We used to hunt for the meat. It was different. Now we hunt them because we can sell the hides more than the meat," he affirmed. Whether or not they do it for the money or survival, the truth is that there's no such thing as taking gator hunting for granted for these people. Hence why Troy and many other hunters take it upon themselves to expand their businesses to fishing and tourism. As far as it's known, Troy hasn't been arrested, but that doesn't mean that his family hasn't faced some serious legal issues. As it happens, in September 2016, Troy's son Chase was accused of shooting at a shrimp boat in Louisiana and then leaving the area. It didn't take long for authorities to arrest the on-the-run Chase, who admitted shooting the boat, but thinking that he was in danger of being run over by it. Further police reports stated that despite not having any human losses during the incident, the shrimp boat was severely damaged by the bullet and leaked gasoline. Chase was scheduled to appear in court later in December 2017 and face charges of wrongful use of a firearm. However, failing to appear in his trial only brought more trouble for Chase, and an arrest warrant was ultimately issued for him. Unfortunately, it's unclear how Chase's legal problems were resolved, but he eventually returned to his spot in Swamp People and is also nowadays featured in the spin-off Serpent Invasion. While reality TV is by no way free from scandals, many of those involved personal issues between cast members and rarely have anything to do with the genre or particular franchises itself. However, things took an unexpected and somewhat ugly turn for Swamp People when the show fired several of its cast members before the 7th season premiered. According to one of the affected cast members, Liz Choate, the show's then newly renewed production was solely responsible for the decision, which took her and the other hunters by surprise. Other cast members, such as Willie and Junior Edwards, were accused of asking for a pay raise before being fired, though the pair denied those claims. Although the Landrys weren't affected by the massive layoffs from the show, enraged fans accused the family of being responsible for the firings, something that the cast members Jeremy Pruitt and David Ladard disagree with. "We have never encouraged any negativity towards your family because we consider y'all our family," they wrote on a Facebook post directed to Jacob Landry, but admitting that some other cast members hadn't been quite so solid behind the affected hunters. Despite the huge scandal, cast members Liz Choate, Tommy Chauvin, and Junior and Willie Edwards eventually returned to the series, but others weren't as lucky. However, the Landrys, especially Troy, have always maintained a stable position in the cast, and that doesn't seem likely to change anytime soon. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.